Welcome to Oddball. I'm Charlotte Wilder. That, once again, is Izzy Gutierrez, who has been kind enough to hang out with us for another show while Amin is out. Last Tuesday, Izzy, Amin lost to you 4-3. This week, you are back to defend your title. Are you ready to meet your challenger?
Sure. Challenger's a strong word, but sure.
Oh, trash talk already. I love this. All right, folks, it's time for Trivia Tuesday. Here's our fun theme music. Great. Here's our challenger, Jeremy Tache, Miami legend.
Hey.
Heat man extraordinaire. Thank you so much for joining us, Jeremy.
Miami legend is not how anyone in the Miami studio would describe me, so thank you. Charlotte, I'm so excited to be here. What a confidence boost to get my ass kicked in trivia.
Look, what is it? We need kindness right now or some bull. Okay, anyway, the rules here are simple for Trivia Tuesday. We have up to 6 different questions. Whoever gets the most right wins. And you're encouraged to think out loud. We want to know what's going on in your head as you mull these questions over, unless you just know it immediately, in which case say it. You only have one final answer, and in the event of a tie, I will pose a subjective question that may or may not even have to do with basketball. I just made that up right now as I'm talking. Are we clear on the rules, and are we ready to go?
Absolutely not, but yes.
I think so, maybe?
Yeah, same. No idea. Jeremy, the first question is for you. So, as of Monday morning, Eastern Conference teams are 13-31 against Western Conference teams. How many teams in the Eastern Conference have a winning record?
Wow. How many teams in the Eastern Conference in general have a winning record, or versus the Western Conference? I apologize for the clarification question.
You know, that's it's in general.
Just a winning record.
Okay, just
I can
a
tell
winning
by your
record.
reaction you're not ready for this quiz today, but come on, Jeremy.
This is not filibustering. I know that at one point in this season, there were only 2 Eastern Conference teams with a winning record. And based off the way that things have gone since then, I think there's a chance it might still just be the Celtics and the Cavaliers. So I'm going to say 2 teams in the Eastern Conference.
Wow, Jeremy, you are correct.
You get no bonus points for naming the teams, though.
All right, that's fine.
Over there.
Yeah, sorry. You only get 1 point. But it is. The Cavs are 11-0. The Celtics are 8-2. The
Crazy.
Pacers have the 3rd best record in the East at 5-5. Literally, a 500 team is the 3rd best record in the East. This is getting scary hours. The Knicks are 4-5. So this is something that I've actually been thinking about. Like, when it comes to the playoffs, do we just get rid of the conference situation because there are so many more better teams in the West right now? Is it something that you could ever see happening? First, Jeremy, and then Izzy, I want your take on this too.
I don't know that I see it happening as much as I just think it should be the case, because the play-in has really helped try to keep teams motivated, but there's a really good chance that you're going to have like teams sort of skewing each direction even earlier this season than usual, where you sort of have those haves and have-nots, and they're going to particularly be by conferences. There's going to be several teams hoping not to make the play-in, trying to play their way out of it in the East, while in the West, you have so many, 12 or 13, it feels like, really good teams. I just don't know if I ever see it happening based off of the way that NBA title lore has existed forever. I don't know what you think, Izzy.
Well, you know those moments in your life where you're just like, wow, I'm old. This is one of those moments because we're just cycling through this conversation. I want to say for like the 3rd time in my life, not just like recently. I'm not trying to say this is an old topic. I'm saying in my life. Oh, we're back because when I was younger, man, the East sucked. Like the Western Conference was so deep and the Eastern Conference was like, well, I guess we'll just beat up on all these other terrible opponents until we get to the conference finals and then the finals. So it's been something that's been sort of on the horizon or maybe discussed. It hadn't really had a whole lot of strength to it lately because there was a little bit more parity and maybe the East picked back up. But I say we go like just next level. Like Adam Silver's not afraid to do something crazy, right? I think we go with, and again, this is something that I've had this conversation before in my life, so I'm not crediting myself here. Pick your own opponent. Like start from 1 through 16, Pick who you want to play. We're going to play
that
team. Okay, now you go. And then you talk about starting rivalries. Like that's a real way to get teams to dislike each other. So I say you want to go all out. You let the teams, top 4 seeds anyway, top 8, I guess, in each conference, pick who they're going to play.
Out of the top 20 or any team in the NBA?
Any qualifying team. You have to qualify.
Okay.
Let's not dismiss the regular season altogether.
I love this so much. That is the kind of drama that I'm looking for. The subtweets or whatever social media platform we'd be using by then would be out of control. Izzy, I would give you a point for that just because I really like the idea, but that's not how the game works.
Right.
So here's your first question. On the flip side of this, as of Monday morning, how many teams in the Western Conference had a winning record? So the same question, but in the West.
All right, so I knew it was all 10 in the playoff or play-in positions. And then I'm just going to throw in one more and say 11 because I like that number.
Oh, Izzy.
Dang it.
It was 10. You had it.
No,
you were right there,
always
my
throwing
dude.
in extras just because I like numbers. So stupid.
Yeah, I do like the number 11, though. Every team except for the Jazz, Blazers, Pelicans, Spurs, and Mavericks has a winning record. And the Mavs are 5-5, which, as you'll remember, was the third best record in the East.
amazing.
It's incredible. Do you think, Izzy, that the injuries that we've seen recently change who the best team in the West is? I think I probably would have said it was the Thunder, but then after seeing Jokic just continue to be dominant and Chet get hurt, who's the best in the West?
I mean, I wasn't ever going to be able to say OKC until I saw more from them, just in terms of like being able to rely on Shea as much as they can for a playoff series or for multiple playoff series. I think they're loaded, don't get me wrong, and that makes great for a regular season team. And so that's why I think they can get over the Chet injury pretty decently. I don't think the Suns can get over Kevin Durant's injury very well. They still seem to sort of be going all around him. Like he is the center of that universe right now, the sun, if you will. And I think getting over him is going to be a little bit more difficult. So I'd say the Suns probably struggle a little bit. But, Bradley Beal's got to get his stuff together and be a 30-point-a-game scorer like he used to be.
Sure.
Well, all right. In this vein, Jeremy, we're just going to go right to your next question.
Okay.
Izzy helped you out accidentally with one of these things here. A wave of injuries hit the NBA at the end of last week. Which of these 4 stars is not currently sidelined with an injury? Zion Williamson, James Harden, Kevin Durant, Ja Morant.
Ooh, I think the answer to that question. Hold on. Now I'm overthinking it.
But you have to say what you're thinking, though. We have to
talk us through it.
So I know Zion to be injured. I think I'm presently between Ja Morant and James Harden. And as you were going through the list, I believed James Harden to be correct. Because he's played a lot. They've just been stinky. But I don't know whether or not I've missed some sort of Ja Morant injury in the last 24 to 48 hours that I wasn't paying attention to. I'm going to go ahead and still say James Harden. James Harden is the only healthy player in that mix.
That is correct. And when I went through this doc earlier, I was like, Ja Morant is hurt.
Yeah, when did that happen?
No, big news in Memphis, though. Zach Edey's on the bench. I don't know why that's big news, but it is to me and Amin.
Finally.
Yeah. Wow. Thank God. James Harden has played in all 10 of the Clippers games so far this season. James Harden, this is so interesting to me that he is, I feel like his vibe is someone who would be injured, and yet he is usually pretty healthy and like the system runs through him. And yet the Clippers have been bad, Jeremy. What is your immediate diagnosis so far of what the Clippers' biggest problem is?
Their roster. Like, I just think that the Clippers just aren't properly constructed, and everything sort of went awry with Paul George. They went all in on this concept and it just didn't work out, and they've had to punt on it. And now James Harden probably at least 2 or 3, more like 4 or 5 years after he should have the type of usage that he currently has, is being asked to do way too much in order to be a good competitive team. They've lost a couple of close games. The record could be different. But I just don't think that this is one of those teams that is going to be able to survive all season long and keep up in a Western Conference that we just said has, 10 teams presently with a winning record.
It's very good analysis, Tache. Touche,
Hey,
Tache. Izzy, we're going to go
Tache.
to your second question. As of Sunday, who is leading all of the rookies in scoring?
Don't know why you do this.
And this would be hard
me.
for me because I would have a tough time naming more than I would have a tough time naming rookies. This is not a banner year.
A rookie off the top of my head.
I feel like
right
this
now.
is trolling because you want me to say Zach Edey because I'm supposed to not think he's successful. But I also saw a Tom Haberstroh article that said this might be the worst rookie class in the history of the NBA. So I wouldn't be too excited to be at the top of that. So it's either Edey or it's the kid from Washington. Do I get away with saying the kid from Washington if I don't say his full name? No, my answer is Zach Edey. Final answer.
Okay.
Damn it! That was the kid from Washington.
I was going to help you, Izzy. No, it is Zachary Lisache.
Oh, it's him.
One
the
of the
#1
Frenchmen.
pick. Oh, that's right. He had that 33-point game and shot his averages way up.
He did. He's now averaging 12 points per game.
Such an easy question.
Is there anything that has impressed either of you about any of these rookies? Izzy, you go first.
Yes, the self-awareness of Zachary to say, in France, I'm a crazy athlete, but here I'm just a guy. Like, to me, if you're willing to say that out loud for other people to hear who also play basketball and have to pretend, or at least try to pretend they're the greatest athlete or the best player on the floor every time, at least that tells me, hey, it's not like a lack of confidence. It's just, hey, there's a self-awareness there. It's if I'm going to dominate at this level, it can't just be with my athleticism. Let me figure this out right now. So that's probably, sadly, the most impressive thing that I've seen from the rookie class this year.
That's a fantastic answer,
and Pelle
Jeremy.
Larson.
Yeah,
Anything?
well, I think where Izzy was just going, Pelle Larson, is that what he said? Because I think if you're going to ask me, unfortunately, because I'm so Miami Heat pilled in the amount of basketball that I watch, I am obsessed with their second round pick, Pelle Larson. He's going to be another one of those like, wait, where did this white guy on the Heat come from? That's going to bother people if they can get it together enough to be around when those conversations happen. Because he is a 23-year-old rookie who played a full career in college. And I do think it like sparks an interesting conversation around how to slowly rebuild with youth when you're still trying to compete for championships. Not that the Heat will, but we saw the Warriors kind of throw away a couple of years because they were trying to bring in these young, flashy, like ultra raw 18 and 19-year-old players, where sometimes drafting guys that are 21 or 22 to be the youth on your competitive team can be an advantage because they know what to do on the floor already. So that would be, unfortunately, the one thing that I would say about rookies. And I know it wasn't good for anyone.
No, it was great. Shout out Jaime Jaquez. Larson is Swedish. Maybe that has something to do with that. Stick around. We'll be right back with more trivia. I always feel like I'm at like a Wii or a Sims theme park when this music comes on. It makes me feel like I'm inside a computer. All right, it is time
in the Caribbean, though.
Yeah, a Caribbean computer. Exactly what I was going to say, Izzy. It's time for Tache's third question. We are going right back to rookies. Which NBA rookie scored 6 points in his G League debut?
Oh, I know the answer to this. It's because it's the only rookie you would ever ask me about their G League debut. Bronny James.
Yeah, you nailed it. He finished with 6 points on 2 for 9, shooting 0 for 4 from 3, 4 assists,
Smoked a layup.
3 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 block, and 5 turnovers in 31 minutes. Wow. So it's wild having to talk about someone who's got stats like these so much.
So let's power through to the next question is what you're saying. I highly recommend that, Charlotte. Highly recommend that.
I don't really want to ask any follow-ups. I feel like that was pretty self-explanatory. Izzy, your third question. We're sticking with father-son duos here. With 11 points, 11 assists, and 10 rebounds on Friday, which player made father-son history by becoming the first duo to both record triple-doubles in the NBA? And I have a hint for you if you need it.
I don't need the hint.
Okay.
But I am going to talk this out, though, because you say to just talk things out, think things through. And right now I'm thinking about why there's a D in fridge, but not in refrigerator. That's weird.
Oh.
The answer is Scottie Pippen and Scottie Pippen Jr.
Nailed
Look it up. There's a D in fridge, but there's not a D in refrigerator. Why do we put one in fridge?
I know why. Because of the brand Frigidaire. People shortened to fridge, but in refrigerator, it is spelled differently.
Confusing. People in the past need to be clearer on what they were shortening.
People in the past need to be clearer about a lot of things, but here we are. Scottie Pippen Jr. powered the Grizzlies to a win over Washington in a game where John Morant sat. The reason I know and care about Scottie Pippen Jr., besides the fact that I host a basketball show, is that his mom, Larsa Pippen, who was married to Scottie but dating Michael Jordan's son, posts a lot of pictures of her kids. So I've seen on Instagram. So I've seen a lot of pictures of this guy. And then I'm like, oh, I guess he can actually play basketball. And on that note, it is time for Jeremy's fourth question. I feel crazy. Who's averaging more points this season? Paul George or Tobias Harris last season?
Wow, that is the trickiest of trick questions if I've ever heard one, Jeremy.
I know, sorry.
It is a trick question because I believe Paul George has yet to play basketball. And so in turn, can we take points away from it? Can we take points away from Jeremy for being doubly wrong? When did I hold on a moment? Did I miss Paul George's debut, didn't I?
Yeah, but that tells you what it was like.
Right.
That's too many hints.
So then it's a trick. Tobias Harris.
Don't give Jeremy that point. Take that point away.
Yeah, take it away. It was awful. Good decision. That was so embarrassing on so many different levels. Hey, congrats to Paul George for playing a game. All right, congrats to Paul George. That's cool.
I feel like we knew that this was going to go this way when the Sixers signed him, right? Mm-hmm. Izzy, when the Sixers signed Paul George to a 4-year, $211 million deal in mid-30s, the whole Clippers experiment didn't work, but they were like, let's just bring him over to Philly. What was your reaction? I don't know if I talked to you about this last season.
No, my reaction was the same. It would not end well, but it's because of who his teammate was going to be, and that's Joel Embiid. You guys remember last year whenever it was that James Harden got traded to the Clippers and they had that video of him in the locker room, and I think it was Terrence Mann who kind of gave like that face, like he didn't really want this. And my thought at the point was, it's because he knows that guy has never been in a championship locker room, and that season's going to end with that guy not being in a championship locker room. And I just think the same thing of Paul George and Joel Embiid for that matter. And maybe it's just my simple mind working in a way that, until I see it, I won't believe it. But if that happens enough time, you're just going to have to bet on that. You're just going to have to bet on that and say, oh, okay, injuries are luck. Well, sometimes it's not really that, it's not luck. Sometimes with some people, it's just going to happen. And so I just, as loaded as that roster was going to look, never felt that they would have, let's say, even a 40-game stretch where they're all healthy playing together and showing you what they can be. It's just not going to happen.
That's a good point, Izzy.
Yeah.
It's a very good point that teams need chemistry. Like, I think we just underestimate how important it is even for superstars to get the time to play together. And because Embiid has yet to play, I twisted myself into knots overthinking that question, thinking that Paul George hadn't played either. So that's my way of coming back and giving myself an excuse.
You don't have to justify anything. I actually think it's very healthy to show men being wrong about sports and sports media occasionally. Because the whole thing is like, oh, women can't get anything wrong or you're dumb. And they tell you, but then actually it's like, really, let's normalize, like, sometimes you don't know everything, and that's fine.
Let me help you out with that, Jeremy, real quick. When James Harden got traded to Houston, I said that was never going to work. All right. Now you can feel better about yourself.
Okay. Thank you.
There you go. Yeah. Izzy, your fourth question. The Cavs started the season 11-0, and it might be 12-0 by the time anybody watching or listening to this hears it. When was the last time a team started the season 11-0 or better and won a title that season?
Wow. Throwing a curveball at the that is a slider, a late dipping slider.
Look, here's what I'll say. If you can answer this one, great. Or if you just want to answer the last time a team was 11-0.
Well, that was the 73-9 Warriors. They didn't win a championship. So I'm just going to go ahead and pander to the 72-10 team and say the Chicago Bulls are the last team to start that hot and win a championship.
Nailed it. Wow. It was The Last Dance, Chicago Bulls, 1996 and 1997.
Thank you, Jordan.
Jeremy, Izzy and I talked about the Cavs yesterday, and I'm interested in your take. Could they be actual title contenders?
That's a leading question. With that laughter.
The way you asked the question, could they be actual title contenders? No, but you're right. That's exactly the way everyone hears it. And that's the way that it sort of should be thrown out there, because there, Izzy was just talking about sort of like the idea of I'm going to have to see it before I believe it. The problem is that in the Eastern Conference, everything is falling apart around them outside of the Boston Celtics. So if teams are just completely falling apart and they have an easy path to a conference final, well, then, I mean, it's anybody's guess. They technically are a title contender if they make it to the conference finals. So I think almost more, I believe they could potentially back their way into being title contenders. But if everyone's at full strength and as good as they should be, I still sort of feel like until I see more from this core doing it in the postseason, in the way that postseason style of basketball is played, I'm going to view them as a team that's likely a second round exit.
For those who don't want to wait, I'll give you the best possible scenario here, because I do give Donovan Mitchell credit for this. Like in the postseason, wherever he's been, he can turn it on. He can give you a get on my shoulders type of game or playoff series. He did it in Utah, did it in Cleveland. And so that, with a better structure behind you, with people who are more embracing of their roles and know them better and can play them better, I think can get you a couple of playoff series, especially if, that first one's kind of a gimme.
Yeah, I'm with you, Izzy. All right, we've got one more question here for each of you. As usual, we didn't get to 6 questions. We're gonna end on 5 here. Jeremy, the Pistons won on Monday and Friday last week, beating the Lakers and the Hawks to improve to 4-6. When did the Pistons reach 4 wins last season? Before or after November 20th?
These 50-50
definitely after November 20th. Definitely after November 20th.
If we move fast enough, we can get to 6 questions.
Did they get to 4 wins by December 20th of last year? Like, it took them forever to win 5 or 6 games.
They didn't win a single game in November last year. And they
put the in November, am I right?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's good.
That was for Jeremy.
That's a theme. They were actually doing that on purpose. It was for a good cause. Izzy, your 5th question. The Bucks lost to the Knicks on Friday to fall to 2-7. How long did it take last season for the Bucks to pick up their 7th loss? Before or after December 1st?
I'm going to say real quick, I'm going to back up to the Detroit Pistons. And if you haven't talked about it yet, congratulations to Asar Thompson for clearing protocol and being able to get back to NBA activity after he had some blood clot situation. So let's hope that stays out the books. And I say that to stall. I think the Bucks were not great to start last season, but 7 wins, and it was before or after December what? Doesn't matter.
11.
I'm going to say before.
Oh, Izzy, it's after. The Rockets.
I really should listen
Bucks.
to these hints, shouldn't I?
Yeah, 97. It's not that complicated. 97-92 to drop their record to 19-7. They were, remember when they fired Adrian Griffin and everyone was like, but they have so many wins. And it's like, no, you know what? Let's bring in the guy who knows how to blow a 3-1 lead. That's not fair to Doc Rivers, but also he hasn't really earned my saying anything else this season.
So, Charlotte, you just had that Frigidaire information just on the ready, just back, like anything that I ask you, you will know, almost Roy Bellamy style, the answer to it. Because that was, it's the most impressive thing from this podcast, and I don't even know what the hell was said in the first 2/3 of it.
Thank you so much. I actually recently read a letter my grandfather wrote my grandmother, and he said, I have secured us a Frigidaire. So that's why it was in my mind.
Unbelievable.
Thank you both so much.
Cursive.
No, it was typewritten.
Oh.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm going to make you both come back. And this has been Oddball. Thanks.
Congrats, Jeremy.
I would love to defend my victory.